Hey guys, Kevin here in Japan, in a very busy train station just before rush hour. So it's pretty busy, but it's going to be a lot busier. And it's really interesting to take this location to talk about the concept of being lonely, and being lonely even if you live in a big city. I think one of the things that oh, actually, I was just listening to a story on The Current, which is a kind of a current events culture radio show on Canadian public broadcasting, and they were talking about being lonely. And you know, I think that's one of the things that if you come to live abroad in a country like Japan, like here, any country abroad, in Korea, I lived in Korea, I dealt with it there, you're gonna be lonely. Now, when I lived in Korea, I was single, and I remember my first year in Korea, moving to a small kind of city, not knowing anybody, not knowing anything about the country, the culture, not having a computer, the internet connectivity. This was like 2002, and I felt pretty lonely. And there was some holidays, especially, where I felt extremely lonely. Now, fast forward to 2015, and I'm not in Korea anymore. I live in Japan. I'm married. I've got 2 children. I'm happily married. So I've got a partner, a life partner, and in many ways very fulfilled, of course, with that, having a partner. But I still feel very lonely sometimes. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, you know, you're still a minority. I mean, like, there's not many native speakers, English speakers around who understand the culture, things I want to talk about. I'm a Canadian, I'm a political junkie, I'm a news junkie. Often I want to talk about Canadian politics with people, but I don't have that outlet because there's not that many Canadians around me, and when I do find them, they probably don't give, actually most I know don't care about politics, so I can't talk to them about that. So that's kind of a bit sad, for me anyway. And also one of the things is too, like, you know, when you see like there's a shift, a change, like when you have a family and you care about your family a lot and you've got young children, you really, I race home every day at the end of the day to hang out with them and see them and play with them before they go to bed and put them to bed and all that stuff. So I don't socialize. So whereas in most of my colleagues who are great people, you know, they don't have kids, and they, you know, they finish work and they all, maybe after work they'll go to the pub for a few beers together, or they go have dinner together and a few beers, and they have that kind of companionship, that camaraderie people from the same culture have. And I can't go to those activities, so that kind of bums me out sometimes, because I would like to just hang around and shoot the breeze with a bunch of cool people who are, you know, native English speakers, North Americans, Westerners, you know, from the same culture. So I don't really get to do that. So it makes me a bit sad. Now, mind you, at the end of the day, I'm so lucky, because every time I open the door at my house, I've got 2 beautiful little kids who are excited to see me and they love me and all that, and that's wicked. But definitely, you know, I feel lonely here in Japan from time to time, and it's a different type than I felt many years ago when I was a single person living in Korea by myself. That was like desperate loneliness sometimes, depending if you're like stuck alone in your 1-room apartment on a holiday by yourself and all of that. But yeah, it's an interesting thing, living abroad. It can be a challenge in many ways, and listening to this radio story about loneliness made me just kind of think, like, yeah, I get pretty lonely sometimes too, even though I have a family who I spend so much time with. It can happen, surprisingly enough. There you go, guys. Kevin here in Japan. Some thoughts about loneliness. Just talking. Later.